We've started to switch up some of our equipment to pick up things better. Like we pay a lot of attention to ley lines now.
Mm-hmm.
It's easier for them to travel. We switched over to UV flashlights because it does seem to attract more paranormal activity for some reason.
Interesting. I think I may have to experiment with that. I hadn't heard of the UV.
Yeah, we um, James, who runs Black River Paranormal, he's into the science end of it, and he'd read some things about UV lights attracting or increasing paranormal activity in a location, or attracting paranormal activity in a location. So we got UV flashlights. We kind of played around with it for a bit, and yeah, we have noticed an increase in activity. At least what's there is more active.
That's
I don't know what it is about it. It's just a black light. I don't know what
yeah.
it is about the light, or that type of light, but we do seem to get more things when we use them than if we use regular flashlights.
Which is just interesting. I mean, particularly when you think of negative spirits, they're not big fans of sunlight.
Right. And I'm not even talking negative spirits. I'm talking like if you go in and there's your, run of the mill entity spirit there,
Yeah.
or there's a few spirits there, it does tend to draw them in. So you're able to deal with them easier. I mean, I haven't really tried it in a case of a demonic.
Yeah.
Because they're just going to be there no matter what. They don't really care. True. So, but with dealing with other types of entities, we found that, yeah, we do get an increase.
Well, I know, but it's also just thinking in folklore, and in ghost stories, everybody thinks of darkness and ghosts, although we both know that's not actually accurate.
No, you can get activity any time of the day. They don't care what time it is.
I'm not sure they experience time, at least not in the sense that we do.
I mean, walking around in the dark, makes good TV.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I always explain the dark thing by what I think is one of the most simple explanations, which is, why I do most of my cases in the dark, whether I'm on TV or not? It's when people are off of work.
Yeah.
At high noon, most people have a job to go to.
Right. Plus, if you're, trying out new equipment like UV lights and stuff like that, UV light is not going to work for you in the daylight like it is in pitch blackness.
No.
So a lot of the things we're trying now, we need the dark to actually try it because they're all designed to work in the dark.
Yeah. And it is one of my recurring points as from an investigator standpoint is a lot of the things people look at TV and go, oh, they're doing that because it's spookier. Well, it is spookier, but there's often a practical reason for it, too.
Your equipment works better at night.
And you're not working your day job at night.
Yes. Exactly. I mean, we had a case last weekend we went out. We did a historical museum.
Nice.
A very interesting case. Nice history. And everyone, it was started out as a hotel. Mm-hmm. And the original owners are still there. Fred and Emma. They're dead. I mean, they've been dead, but they're still there.
Yeah.
And I can't remember if it's Fred or Frank Losh. Maybe Frank Losh. He has a habit of following you down the stairs. Mm-hmm. And it scares the crap out of a lot of people. So, because that stairway isn't really well lit, the curator put in motion lights that, light up a little bit, just to illuminate the stairway a little bit for some of, our older patrons.
Sounds like a good plan to me.
It was a great plan because
they went off on their own, didn't they?
Yeah, when they go off, you're kind of going, did someone just walk by the stairway? And you're looking around going, no, everyone's right here. That's interesting. And um, plus it's filled with antiques. So we had they have like a big
Shame on you.
barn.
You're making me yawn.
I'm sorry, they have a big barn. It's got school desks in it, old school desks, like the ones with the benches in front, and the desk and the bench.
Nice.
And we were all in there, and we were doing an EVP session because Kim had been in there with her EMF detector, and on one of the desks it just kept going off. But if you moved it off the corner of the desk, it wouldn't go off. And we were trying to figure out why the heck is it only going off
In one spot.
in one spot. And so I kind of sat down on one of the bench seats. And I said, okay, well, we'll do a EMF, EVP session, see if there's someone here. And we're doing that. I'm like, if you're here, give me a sign of your presence. The bench seat threw me off. Just bam!
Subtle.
Unceremoniously dumped me on the floor. And I'm like, okay, then, thank you.
You love when it just likes to be, yeah, here I am. But
here I am. And it was very enthusiastic. Because then in my head, I hear it going, oh, gosh, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Yeah, not a problem. I'm fine. So,
yeah, there's been times where you almost feel like there's a ghost somewhere going, neener, neener, neener.
They do. They make you chase them all over the place. They play hide and go seek.
That's what I always have to wonder about. Which would be, what happens to ghost hunters on the other side and how messy that must get?
We make up some of the most hellacious spirit hauntings that anyone will ever see, the next generation will ever see. That's what I think. I know when I die, I'm gonna be one hellacious ghost. And and I'm gonna mess with ghost hunters.
I want to mess with skeptics personally.
I'll mess with ghost hunters.
See, if I was a ghost right now, what I would do is, you know who James Randi is?
Yeah.
I'd go visit him like at least once a week and just tap one shoulder, wait till he turns around, tap the other shoulder.
No, you know who I'd go after and make absolutely crazy? Zach Bagans. Ghost Adventures.
Ah. I've met, not Baggins himself, but one of those guys once. He was both speaking at the same convention. I've never seen the show, so I can't. One, I've never seen it, so can't comment on it. Two, I prefer not to, just for the sake of calm politics, as it were.
Oh no, I want calm politics, but he'd be who I'd haunt. Just saying. For a lot of reasons that we won't go into, but he'd be who I'd go after. He'd be who I go after. Some of those shows, I mean, not necessarily their show.
Yeah.
But some of those shows, you just gotta shake your head. Ghost bait.
Oh, I know. There's the one show, and I'll actually name it because the guy who does it's annoyed me enough that I will call him out on it. But Paranormal State.
Ryan?
Yeah. So if you listen to the intro to that show, and he talks about how when he was a kid, he got chased by a spirit and all that stuff. Now, scroll back a couple of years, pre-2009, and you look up the Lou Gentili show. Big radio show back in the day. The intro is nearly verbatim, and Lou came first.
I just think that, I don't have a problem with Ryan, per se. I just think that, and I'm not knocking his faith, he's a devout Catholic, and I have no problem with anybody's religion. If it works for you, that's good. I just think too much of it was brought into the show. It's like, I have my own religious beliefs. The people on our team have other religious beliefs. But when we go into a client's house, we operate with their beliefs because otherwise, and nothing we do is going to work.
Exactly.
You know, like we have a Buddhist, we have a Wiccan, we have a pagan, we have a Catholic, we have a atheist. You know, we have all different religions on in Black River Paranormal. We all get along. We don't have drama. But when we go into a client's house, we operate within their belief system because nothing's going to work if we don't. If the homeowner doesn't believe that what we do is going to work, it's not going to work.
See, this is why I like talking to you, because you know as well as I do, there's a lot of nut jobs and idiots in this field.
Yes.
And there are certain topics I listen for to know that somebody knows what they're talking about. What you just said is one of them, because that's what I would say.
Yeah, you have to operate within their belief system. If
Yeah.
you don't, you could be the greatest in the world, and nothing's going to get rid of that spirit.
I have a very good friend who sadly just passed away. He was an ordained Christian exorcist, very devout, you know, wore the collar, everything. And he also, multiple times when we spoke at conventions together, would comment on, no. I'm not going to go in there and force my beliefs on people. If if they are Christian, then great. I'm going to work with them that way. If they're not Christian, it's not going to help if I try to force them to see things my way.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I've had a couple of cases where the people were convinced there was a demonic in their home. 100% convinced there was a demon there.
Mm-hmm.
There were Bibles opened everywhere. There was salt everywhere. Everything had a demon. I walk in the house. I'm like, there is not a demon here. I mean, I figured out who it was. It was their old landlord who had not been a nice guy in life, and he wasn't doing anybody any favors in death. Yeah. And James and I went outside. I said, let's go outside. James and I went outside. He goes, what are we going to do? I said, look, I can get this spirit to leave. It'll take me 3 minutes. But they're still going to think there's a demon here. I said, I'm going to do the ritual I use to get rid of a demon. And he looked at me. I said, yes, it's like getting rid of a cockroach with a sledgehammer. But unless I do this ritual, they will still believe there's a demon here. When I do this ritual, in their minds, I've gotten rid of the demonic. You don't get rid of the spirit that was here, but I have to make them think that the demon that isn't here is gone. So that's what we did. We went through the whole full-blown ritual, and they haven't had any trouble since. Because in their head, I got rid of their demon. Well, their demon was their ex-landlord. But sometimes you have to do that. You have to operate into what they believe. Because I could sit there and argue all day with them and say, no, it's your landlord, it's not a demon, and they're not going to believe me.
No. And I've seen those types of situations where Father himself had, thankfully, a different outcome, but similar situation, sometimes where members of his congregation would have experience with deceased loved ones. And sometimes they would be concerned because so many Christians believe that also, if you see a spirit of a ghost, if you see a ghost, it's a demon. It has to be a demon because human spirits can't do that.
Right.
And Father, and in large part thanks to him, myself, we can quote chapter and verse where the Bible disagrees with that. But just trying to explain to people, it's like, no, it's not the, your loved one who came back and reassured you and comforted you and helped you find peace with their death. What about that sounds demonic to you?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, you understand what demon spirits do.
Yeah, so, you just have to work within their system, their beliefs. And, I mean, I don't blame them for thinking that because back in the 60s or early 70s, they had been involved with a satanic cult that had been operating out there. So knowing that, I said, this is the only thing that's going to convince them that it's gone.
And like you said, it works.
It works.
I'm a real pragmatic guy with this kind of thing, and people will ask me all the time, "Well, are you sure it was a demon and not a fairy and not a pissed off elemental?" Or it's like, I have reasons why I think it was a demon. Do I know for sure? No, I'm not a medium. I'm not a psychic. Is it gone? If it's gone, who cares what it
Who
was?
cares what it was? Yeah. So, I mean, I hated doing it to the landlord because it's quite a powerful ritual. But it's like, well, it'll get rid of them.
Yeah,
It'll get rid of just about anything. But that's what you have to do.
yeah.
You have to put your own beliefs aside and work with their beliefs, and that's where I had a problem with Ryan.
Like I said, my largest, I have others, but my largest was he just ripped off the entire thing shamelessly. And I mean, it's like Ryan, I met Ryan way, way, way back before the show started, because Lou and I used to do the paranormal convention they had at Penn State, which is where he got started, was starting
Right.
hosting those things. And Lou came up, and it was after he met Lou that he started his show, and then all of a sudden he's copying the intro. Then again, the falling out between Lou and Penn State is a long, interesting story in its own right that directly relates with George Lutz.
Yeah.
And the radio show was an interesting ride over the years.
Yeah. I mean, there's people just need to know. I mean, there's spirits everywhere, not necessarily demons. Demonic hauntings are actually very rare,
Yeah.
or extremely rare.
I would say, and feel free to correct me if you disagree, they're on the rise, but they're still very rare.
I think they're on the rise for a variety of reasons, um, but they're still extremely rare. I mean, been doing this 30 years. I've run into. Remember, I actively go out there.
Yeah.
In 30 years, I think I've run into what I could actually say without a doubt definitively was demonic. It would be two.
I've probably run into more, but keep in mind, I specifically go looking for the demonic.
Well, I keep my eye out for them,
Yeah.
but I should say I don't specifically go out and hunt them.
Yeah.
If I happen to run across one, okay, I'll take care of it while I'm there.
But you're not gonna go. You're not gonna go poking your nose looking for trouble when you don't need to.
Right. I've got too many other things that I have to do, and busy season starting. Summer seems to be busier, so no, I mean I don't go looking for them, but
You've found them at least twice that you're sure of. You said. So
yeah,
yeah.
but one was my fault. The second one was in a house that had a lot of spirits in it. I mean, they should have just installed a revolving door. There were so many spirits in this place.
Yeah, I've done a house like that before.
And there were, I don't know, the house was on a large amount of acreage. And we were outside, and the homeowner said, there used to be an old church on this property, and it burned down. It's back in the woods somewhere. I don't even remember where it is now. And we both looked at each other because the Satanist group that had been occupying out there had taken over an abandoned church, and the church had burned down. And I'm like, okay, this explains a whole lot. I get it now.
Yeah, it's like okay. No, I did a house in Pennsylvania, which is where I'm from originally. With Lou, it was a colonial era house, so 200 years old. Lou was Are you familiar with the concept, with the ritual of self-immutigation?
Yes.
Lou had to do that in this house.
Oh, that's not good.
No. I'll put it like, I wasn't there at the time because I helped him set up. I carried the incense throughout the house. Then he sent me to the 200-year-old blacksmith's forge across the street because I was much younger and much less experienced and not ready for that. Um, what he told me later, he started the ritual and a lot of people literally just walked into the room through the walls. It's a
Yeah, that happens.
200-year-old house.
I've had that happen. I've had that happen where things just start to come in. But it was funny for this one when I'm getting ready to start, getting prepared. Um, James had left the ghost box on,
Mhm.
and I happened to walk by it to do something, and out of the ghost box comes this demonic voice, and it's going, "You're going to die." And everybody just kind of froze and looked at me, and I went, "Yeah, I am, but not going to be tonight." And I just like went and did what I had to do.
The one time I did it, I worked with the ghost box. Used the recorder that it's based on many, many times. But the one time I was doing a case in Delaware, and the team I was working with, because I was asked to consult with people who weren't familiar with the demonic, had a ghost box. It's near the end of the night. We're all sitting in the living room, and we start doing a round robin of questions. Now, the priest I work with is there. He's not dressed like a priest. He's in overalls or something like that. But every time it gets to his turn to ask a question, various expletives come out of the box.
Yes, because they know he's a priest. They know he's a man of the cloth.
Yeah. And
Yeah, that was interesting. I don't use it a lot. I don't like to use it. I find it more of a nuisance sometimes. I mean, I guess for the rest of the team, it helps them because they can get instant feedback. But I already know what it's saying.
yeah.
So I don't have a use for it, but the team uses it, and that's fine. We've got some interesting stuff from it. Um, I just don't like it when you walk by it and it either tells you you're going to die or it calls you by name.
Mm.
I don't like being called out by name by something like that.
I don't blame you. I still like one of my favorite EVP experiences. Um, Convention. Done with the convention for the night. I'm hanging out with some of my friends who've all booked a hotel room together. And we're bored. And what do bored ghost hunters do? They ghost hunt!
Stupid stuff, yes.
So we did EVP in the hotel room. And I actually got, and it's the one interaction I've had with the dead ghost hunter because my mentor decided to get on the horn.
Oh,
And like I said, I'm a psychic rock, but I've been at this long enough. I get an inkling when things are around, especially if it's something familiar.
yeah.
So myself and the one friend of mine who is in fact the sensitive both knew there were spirits in the room. And I start getting this inkling that I know one of them. Now, when Lou and I did cases, we always asked the same question. He always asked it. He always got the same answer. House after house after house after house. So, like, okay, I think I know who this is. If you are who I think you are, I'm going to ask you a question. I want you to answer it the way they always answered you. The question is, are you a human spirit? Have you ever lived? The answer he always got, yes, asshole. Those exact words. So I say, are you a human spirit? Have you ever lived? You hear a male voice start to chuckle. And then you hear, yes, asshole.